Yo, JD here, it's your Limitless, and as you can see on F1 2020, as always, and we are back at Silverstone, a track that we do fairly often. Unfortunately, there is only 20 or so circuits in this game, and we are doing a one-shot qualifying against a very sweaty online lobby. So I don't do one-shot quali too often. Out of all the qualifying scenarios, this is the one that offers the least amount of grip. It's one shot, then it's short quali, and then it's actually, funny enough, Q3 offers the most grip out of all the different scenarios you can do. But we are in the Williams here today, and this circuit is probably definitely one of my favorite tracks. Using a custom setup, so I'm actually using the setup I used when I did the league race around here, which worked extremely well. And just something really to discuss during this video is I always focus my setups more towards the race, and a lot of people said, what do you change from the TT to the race? And the honest answer is that there's no such thing as really a TT setup or something in particular that works, because so many people use so many different setup variations. It's really what works for you. So when I go online and when I practice for a league race, it's whatever is working for me. And I predominantly really practice the race. 6-part firmate is on. There's no point just doing qualifying, getting the best, and then it doesn't work in the race. I usually always practice the first stint, and whichever I get my fastest race laps with, that's what I'm going to use in the qualifying session. That's really how I go about actually building my setups for the league races, which after this TSRL season, I will be showing quite a lot of my setups, like the Suzuka setup, the Silverstone setup, just so you can get an idea of how I really approach when I'm actually doing a league race. But you can see we're P3, Jakey B, 14 years old this guy is, which is absolutely insane. I think he's going to be a very big name in the future of esports. So we're going to go head to head for him today. We've got 5 fights here as they go out now. We've got Hoopylicious, who is a current F1 esports challenge driver. We've got Tira Martin, who's my teammate in this race here. So going through into here now, I've done this track in 5 laps so many times, so I have a really good understanding of how the ERS works and how you really need to plan your races. So managing to maintain our third place as the Haas gets a little bit out of shape, so we're going to just go side by side, and with the 2.6 wings should have a little bit of a straight line speed advantage, because I think a lot of people run 2.7 wings or maybe even 3.7 wings around here. So we get the move done. Now we're into P2 with Jakey B up ahead, and now it's just a case of just planning how I'm going to do my race. And again, I know this is only a 5-lapper, but this really does pay dividends and really gives you a good amount of confidence and experience when you do a league race. Because as I was just, the reason why I mentioned about the race setups and everything as well is that you don't have to be the fastest in qualifying, or you don't even have to be the fastest in the race. It's about you making the right decisions in terms of how you build your setup, your pit strategy, how you manage your tyres, really how you manage your ERS is a huge thing, which I see. I'm not going to pretend I'm the best at managing my ERS, because I think people like Jan Ottme are probably even better than me at managing the ERS, but I feel I'm a pretty good level with it and normally make quite good decisions. And quite often I'm not the fastest man on track, maybe not even a top 3 fastest, but it's just, I feel I probably drive usually one of the most efficiently, which really maximizes the points that I can get in a league race. And sometimes that's wins, sometimes that's podiums. I think that really helps me. You don't need to be the fastest man on track. The fastest man on track doesn't always win, and that goes into account of penalties and stuff as well. Now, you could be really fast pushing the limits of a track, but I think that's what separates. I think that's why a lot of people who are very quick in qualifying struggle a bit more in a race, and the reason why I'm much better in the race than I am in qualifying is that they're very good at pushing 100% over a lap, and then they try and do the same in the race, and that means just taking everything out their tyres, using their ERS, just overusing the ERS, and just the quality setup as well. and just pushing the limits of a track too much, just pushing like the runner qualifying lap all the time, it just doesn't work in the race. And that's why there's a little bit of a difference between being a very good driver and a great driver, is where you recognize those things and you have to really discipline yourself. Discipline is really the main thing, and that's exactly what I'm doing here, and I did in the previous lap. Managed to get the move done on Hoopalicious, who's dropped back a little bit now. But right now I'm not trying to go for fastest lap. I'm not even going to try and go for track position. Right here I'm just thinking about saving all of my ERS, using the fuel wisely, a little bit of boost of the ERS, but now I'm just turning off because I don't want to overtake him here. And one thing to remember as well is that I'm putting it in lean when I could probably run in rich for the entirety of this race to the end. And I see a lot of people ask me that, why do you put it in lean when you just really don't need to? And I think I might even do it going through this corner as well. You can see my engine was quite hot there. I'm actually going to keep it in rich as I say that, but quite often as I put it back in lean now, is really to just cool the engine down. And I know in real life that might be a bit different, some people have said, but on this game, the cooler your engine, the more performance you have in terms of power from the engine itself. So that's why I put it in lean quite a lot, not just because of the traction. It doesn't really help that much on traction. It just really cools the engine. So that's really the reason why I do it. But here now, I'm just trying to get as close as I can, and I'm just trying to push or try and get as close as I can to him. Using a little bit of the ERS now as we set a fastest lap. But just really trying to force him to use as much of his ERS as possible. I want my opponents to think that I'm using as much ERS. No, I'm using a lot of the ERS, because then that's really going to force their hand. And that means when I do want to really make that overtake, they're going to be quite vulnerable. So again, you can see here, now I'm using it because I want to overtake my penultimate lap. So I've caught him napping a little bit, and now we're going to make the move. And something I just completely forgot to mention is that around this track, you really want to get grid position before the final lap of the race. And I've done too many races around here where I know if I have over 40% of my ERS going into the last lap, then I know unless I make a big mistake, it should really be job done. Because going through Maggins and Beckett's coming up here, the dirty air is quite significant. So going through this left-hander now into this right, if I get a good exit off here, I shouldn't really have to use that much ERS. And you can see exactly that the dirty air is pretty strong. So he's using a lot of his ERS now, so I'm going to just counter that ever so slightly, just a little bit. But I know now, I can see my ERS is over 40%. I know if I can start this lap in the lead, then I can afford to use some ERS to defend down the first ERS straight. And then also coming off that Maggins and Beckett's, I know the dirty air is going to be a big effect for him. So go through here, it's important that he doesn't get past me here, but just thinking smartly, don't go defensive, because it's a really awkward move for him to overtake down that inside. So I'm just going to keep the racing line. Now coming off here, just making sure I get some very good traction, and we get some very good traction. So we have a lot of ERS to play for. He's going to close in, but I'm going to keep myself on the racing line, because if I defended, that actually makes it easier for him to overtake me around the outside. Whereas if I keep on the racing line, there's a very big risk, well, a very big chance that he is going to make contact with me, and due to the contact model, he's probably going to spin around. So it actually makes it so much more awkward for him to overtake. So I stay on the racing line there. I'm going to easily stay ahead going to this Maggins and Beckett's, and you can see we've got a lot of ERS to play with. My engine is quite cool as well, got a lot of fuel. So all I have to do is get a good exit here. So try and get as good exit as I can. And you can see once again, you can see the effect of that dirty air. It's really powerful. One of the most powerful corners. So he's going to, again, I'm just going to stay on the racing line once again, because if I defended, that gives him more of an opportunity, have enough to defend going into this last chicane. And out of his head-to-head, looks like we are going to come out on top here. And coming across the line, we managed to take the win. And the whole point of this is just really understanding the track that you're racing on, how the ERS works, how the dirty air works, where to overtake. And I think the more in detail you look at things, like my Suzuka race recently, I really did my homework on how the ERS worked. And I wasn't the fastest overall on track. I felt like I drove really well, but if you just drive the most intelligently on this game in particular, that's how you beat people. You don't have to be the fastest. So obviously it helps if you are as well, but if you just think about your ERS, your tyre use in the long game as well, when to do the overtakes, when to defend, if you put all of those things together, you'll be winning races and you'll be consistently maximizing the results you can. So I hope that was a lesson for you, and with this footage as well, I felt it was quite a good one. So thank you so much for the support on my channel. Almost 170,000 subscribers. That is just a number I just cannot get used to. So thank you so much for your support. Make sure you check out the Gravity competition, which I put in the link down in the description down below. Thank you so much, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.